Can you hear me, Tom Luck?
Yeah.
Okay, we have somebody in the audience who is live streaming this, and the person who's live streaming this, who does Clubhouse debates.
Therefore, premise one, if God with all of those properties exists, the actual world is the best of all possible worlds. Premise two, the actual world is not the best of all possible worlds. Conclusion, God with those properties doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're making a fundamental error here, okay? You're concluding that from creation in current history is the best, should be the best of all possible worlds. I can just pull the rug out from under you, just simply saying is that after Judgment Day is the best of all possible worlds, where God maximizes the number of people who freely choose him. And that a means to that end is to permit certain good things and distasteful things as motivating factors without coercion to maximize the number of people who freely choose him and are in the final state of blessing. So, you see, if you actually had a greater knowledge of biblical theology, you wouldn't make such an elementary mistake. Your focus is on the here and now, that world, rather than the outcome after Judgment Day.
Yeah, so I didn't say anything
This
about
present
here.
world is a means to bring about the best of all possible worlds.
Yeah, so I didn't say anything about means, and I didn't say anything about the here.
I have a question for you. Okay, when you reason and argue about things, what's the final reference point? Is it the mind of God?
No, probably not.
Okay, so what's the final reference point?
In this discussion, it will be classical logic.
No, I don't think you're understanding. Okay.
Yeah, but
The final
I don't
in
really
the
want
Christian worldview, don't overtalk me or I will kick you out of the room. Okay,
Okay.
you're not going to pull what you have pulled before. Okay.
And what I pulled before?
Now, in the Christian worldview, God himself ontologically is the final reference point, both in terms of what he is and what constitutes his mind and his purposes. Okay? Now, so everything that exists that is not God derives and depends upon God as the final reference point, or another way of putting it, as the ultimacy of reality. Since you don't believe that, when you invoke things, right? When you invoke what is, can be, and cannot be, right? When you invoke what is, can be, and cannot be, does that include logic and reason?
Yeah, sorry, the last question was, can you repeat it?
When you invoke anything that is, can be, or cannot be, does that include logic and reason?
Probably, but what? Just 1 second.
This is a very simple question. Okay.
And the question is,
when you open up your
yes.
mouth, you are invoking either what is, what can. Okay. Overtalk me again. You're gone. Okay.
You overtalk.
I've dealt with you before. Okay.
I don't care.
I've dealt with you. Okay. Goodbye. You were warned. Okay. Goodbye. No, I'm not a coward. I don't put up with your bad behavior. Okay. Which he has done on many occasions. What he does is he bickers. Now, the point is this. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do. He is attempting to reason and bring up defeaters that mitigate against God and especially the God of the Bible. So what he's invoking is, what can be, and what cannot be. Now, since the God of the Bible and his mind and his purposes in redemptive history is not the final reference point, then what is, ontologically? You'll notice earlier, J. Robin, he tried to invoke logic and reason. But logic and reason are abstractions. They don't stand in causal relations. Okay. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do. What would you like to say, either Roger or Mark?
I'll let Roger go. I'm not Roger. Oh my God, I'm Roger. I'll let Mark go.
You sure, Roger?
Yeah,
Sure?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't raise my hand. Jay
Okay.
Robin just invited me up, so Mark, you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've talked to Darth plenty, so which is fine. I don't want to get in the way, but if you want to step in, go ahead, do that. So I'm confused, Darth. So you accused Rhodey of not appealing to an ultimate and said that his argument was fallacious because of that. But
I
that would
accused
mean,
him of? He didn't. He
well,
didn't. When asked to provide one, did he give one?
yeah. No. I just think that's a non sequitur because
Hold on. Stop.
right. Mm-hmm.
You said I accused him. Okay.
Right.
Did Rhodey invoke an identifiable and defensible final reference point?
Well, you asked him a couple questions and kicked him pretty fast. I would
Okay,
say
that's not an answer to my question. That's dodge number 2. Dodge my question one more time, and I will kick you without further warning.
I'm saying I'm not sure
Okay?
what he did not give
Okay.
you an answer.
Okay.
He did not give you an answer.
Okay. Listen to
I'm not
me.
sure we know
Did you hear
what
what
he
I
was doing.
just said to you? Did you hear
Yeah,
what I just said to you? I'm a
sure.
no-nonsense person. When somebody jerks me around and is fundamentally dishonest, you can laugh all you want. I know I have zero tolerance for people who are being deceitful with me. Now,
Well, I won't lie to you, Darth.
what was the question? What is the question that I asked you?
You wanted to know if he had an
Oh, there's more.
ultimate
There's
reference.
more. Hold on a second. There's more ways to be dishonest than just outright lying.
Okay.
Now, did I ask him to give me the final reference point for whatever comes out of his mouth that is invoking what is, can be, and cannot be? Did I ask him that question?
Yeah, to be honest, you did.
What was his answer?
To be honest, I couldn't really understand what he said, but you reacted as if he did not give an answer,
You
which may
didn't
have been.
hear him say logic and reason?
I heard him say logic and reason. Then you asked him something again, and
Okay,
I didn't hear his response to that.
Now, he clearly understood the question. Okay, I've dealt with him on dozens of occasions. He always resorts to bickering rather than disagreeing like an adult. Now, his immediate response, he puts himself forward as trying to be intellectual, which is fine. Okay. Now, when he was asked what the final reference point is that institutes and secures any instance of what is, can be, and cannot be, his answer was logic and reason. Right? Now, is that answer coherent?
He may think it's coherent, and you
I
may think
didn't
it's
ask
not
you. I
coherent.
didn't ask you what he thought.
I've heard arguments for it. I don't. That's not my
Is
belief.
his answer
I don't know,
coherent?
Darth. I don't know if his answer is
Oh,
coherent.
okay. Well, the
It's
answer
not
is
my
no. It's
answer. It's not
not.
my
No,
answer.
it's not. It's not a coherent answer at all, because unless he's referring to the mind of God, reflecting logic and reason, or derives from God, that would be different. But he's not. He's talking about human logic and reason. Now, does human logic and reason institute and secure ontologically any instance of what is, can be, and cannot be?
No, it does not.
Okay, so he gave an incoherent answer.
And that's my opinion of it. I don't know what his opinion would be. He's not here to answer.
Right. So you and I are in agreement that it's not coherent.
From my position, that's not what logic is. No.
No, I didn't say that's what logic was. I said that logic and reason, which is human beings thinking about their world, does not institute and secure every instance ontologically of what is, can be, and cannot be. But you see, what else was he going to say other than say existence or reality, which would be another incoherent response?
Right. And let's say we accept that. I accept that his response
So
on that
therefore
point was
he's dead.
incoherent.
He's dead. Then that means whatever he comes out of his mouth about what is, can be, or cannot be, since he has acknowledged that it doesn't derive and depend upon the mind of God and how God reveals it, then all he's left with is the figment of his imagination.
Right. Would you like me to explain how I don't think that's at all germane to the issue?
It is germane to the issue, because if he's going to open up his mouth and attempt to call into question the goodness, the justice, the righteousness, the coherence, the consistency of the nature and character of God, I want to know if he has a foundation to even attempt to do so.
Well,
isn't that
yeah.
isn't that a legitimate question? If he has a foundation to even attempt to evaluate God?
For an internal critique, no, that's not.
No, it is. I said, is it a legitimate question?
With regarding an internal critique, it's not.
No, sir. Listen to me. You're not following me.
Okay, I'll listen again. Let me hear
Is it a legitimate question while he's going through his syllogism there, rather than waste my time and parse, which premise I'm going to go after or whatever? How about I go for the whole kit and caboodle together and just saying, is there even a basis for him to reason? Because
Right.
when he comes and delivers his syllogism, is that not implicit that the worldview that he's speaking from provides such a basis?
No, it's not.
Oh, so when he speaks, and whatever reasoning or logic comes out of his mouth, he doesn't presuppose that there's a ontological basis to invoke what is, can be, and cannot be?
Not if he's adopting your worldview as an internal critique.
You're not no, but he's not adopting my worldview, because if you adopt my worldview, then there's no inconsistency between God's declared character and what he permits.
He was pointing out an inconsistency
And
between the application of logic and
no,
the claimed properties of God.
no, sir,
You
no.
accept
But you
both.
see, here's what you're not understanding. Okay, the inconsistency is the human reasoning from a very tiny and limited perspective. And the human being does not have the same perspective that God does. Would you agree with that?
You defined what he was pointing
I
out
asked you a question, sir.
is
Would you agree with the question?
our human reasoning does not represent potentially what an ultimate being like God would represent. That's true.
All right.
Yes.
So when he's attempting to adjudicate whether what God reveals about himself and certain states of affairs that even God says happen, he's making that evaluation to see if it's coherent, if there's a contradiction, based upon a very small, limited perspective, but he does not have the perspective that God does. Okay? Now, can different perspectives expose faulty reasoning?
So in order for that to make sense,
I didn't hear an answer to my question.
For the laws of logic, if you accept their absolute, which you do, no.
You're not answering
Different
my
perspectives
question. You're not answering my question. When he attempts, okay, have a nice day.
Goodbye,
Okay,
Darth.
that's the last time. That's the last time you dodged the question. Okay, see, this is what they do, folks. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do. Yes, straightforward questions. They're uncomfortable with answering the straightforward questions, and they dodge, while they're pretending that they're honestly responding, which he was not. Okay? And he's done this before when I've dealt with him. Okay? So I gave him enough rope to hang himself where he persisted in dodging my questions. And now you're done. You're not going to get an unlimited account to dodge my questions. So all he's just simply saying is he's doing a critique of God. He's doing a critique of the Christian worldview based upon his limited perspective. but he doesn't have sufficient perspective to properly evaluate what God has revealed and whether or not it's consistent with what God has revealed. So what he's doing is exactly what Adam and Eve did in the garden. He's disregarding what God has revealed about himself, and he's decided to do his own critique based upon his own tiny human perspective, and that he can more wisely assess what the nature of God is in the world around him. This is why unbelievers fail every time when they disagree with what God has revealed about himself. Now, if anyone would like to come up and challenge the Christian worldview, would you like to make a comment, Roger?
I think that Jeff probably would want to come up and challenge the Christian worldview more than I would.
Oh, no. Jeff, the physician, is a liar. Okay, I didn't see that he's in here. He has trolled in the past, so we're going to expunge him. Okay, goodbye, Jeff. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do. Jeff has trolled on numerous occasions, so we're done with Jeff. Okay. Jeff is also a liar. Okay. Jeff has been repeatedly asked, when you invoke facts verbally or conceptually in your head, do you positively reference the necessity of God? And he has repeatedly said he doesn't know, which is an outright lie. Okay. And this guy claims to be a graduate of medical school. He damn well knows whether or not he positively references the necessity of God. And to say that he doesn't know is just a scummy tactic of being deceptive and not being held accountable for what he really believes. But he wasn't expunged so much for that, but because he has a quite a history of trolling. Okay, we're done with him. So let me ask you this. I take it you don't accept the Christian worldview?
Yeah, I don't know if I would provide fodder for the most interesting discussion, but
Well, being that you're a philosophy grad student, you reject putatively, or I should say, you reject what God has putatively revealed about himself in creation and in Scripture. Therefore, the mind of God is not the final reference point for you, right?
okay, sure.
So when you open up your mouth, I don't mean that disrespectfully, when you communicate either to others or, in your own reasoning, you're invoking in your mind as what is, what can be, and cannot be, right?
Yep.
So when you invoke what is and can be and cannot be, for you, God is not the final ontological reference point. What is the final reference point then?
For what is, can, and cannot be, I suppose that the answer would rely on the notion of logical possibility and impossibility.
No, sir. I'm talking about, I don't need you to be vague. I need you to I want to know ontologically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the mind of God would be an ontological stipulation.
Right.
I want to know what ontologically institutes and secures any instance of what is, can be, or cannot be. What is your ontological final reference point?
Platonic forms, probably, is the
Oh,
answer.
you're gonna do that again?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay, platonic forms, are these abstract objects?
Yes.
Okay, do abstract objects stand in causal relations?
No.
Okay, well then you're done.
Okay.
That's a meaningless invocation.
Right. I mean,
So you have nothing ontologically identifiable and defensible that dictates causally any instance of what is, can be, and cannot be, do you?
yeah, so I wouldn't say that abstract objects stand in causal
That's not
relation.
an answer to my question.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think that you're.
Do you have an identifiable, defensible, ontological final reference point that institutes and secures every instance of what is, can be, and cannot be?
No, not in the way that you.
Good.
No,
Then,
not
therefore,
in the way that you want.
when you open up your mouth and you articulate what is, can be, or cannot be, and you have no ultimate reference point, no ontological basis for it, then all you are just doing is speaking the figment of your imagination.
I wouldn't go that far.
Good. Then, if it's not the figment of your imagination, what is the ultimate reference point for when you invoke any instance of what is, can be, and cannot be? And don't say Platonic forms, because that's already been rebutted.
I'm not sure if it's been rebutted. I think that I'm
Oh,
not
it most
sure.
certainly is. How
Okay.
would you even know how were you able to ascertain in a way that you can't be wrong as to what is ultimate from which all things derive and depend? Were you able to determine that?
Right. So, this is like the sort of epistemic question. I think that with respect to Platonic forms, that we intimate this in a sense by induction through analyzing our surrounding environment. And so we
You're
see these
using
things
induction.
instantiated.
You're using inductive reasoning. You're going to tell me what's ultimate by virtue of your uniform experience?
Yeah, sorry, could you just repeat that again?
You're using induction, i.e., your uniform experience, in order to ascertain what is ultimate?
Well, yeah, so this isn't really.
Oh, okay.
I
So if
think. Wait,
something
I
is
mean,
ultimate,
okay.
is it eternal then? Is it without beginning? Is it
Yeah, I think.
unconditionally
Well,
non-dependent?
yeah, well, Platonic forms are eternal. Yes.
Oh, okay. And how were you, through induction, able to determine that that is eternal and actually stands in causal relations to the physical world? How were you able to figure that out through induction?
So it's induction in conjunction with other things, but if I were to sort of
How were you able to determine that through induction? Don't try to pull my chain
okay,
with a
so,
verbal
so
mishmash like you have
right.
before.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
So this is what I can say. I can say that you observe several individual instances of a particular occurrence. So the instantiation, let's say, in the moral
You've been
case
able to observe
of a.
Platonic
Okay.
forms.
No, you don't observe Platonic forms in the sense like you could physically touch the form
How do
itself,
you know that
but you observe
Platonic forms
instantiation.
stand in causal relations? How do you know that?
They're not. We're not saying they stand in grounding relations, not in causal
How do
relations.
you know this?
No one says that they. I never said they stand in causal relations.
Okay, well, then they're not ultimate then.
Um, Not ultimate in the way that you
Thank
want
you
them
for
to
your
be.
time. We're done. This just
Okay.
goes to show you the foolishness of even a philosophy grad student, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
I mean, I could explain the in more detail.
What you're doing is you're giving me a running monologue. You see, I'm not easily fooled. I'm asking you what is ultimate, and you're just giving me a mini community college lecture because you're a grad student. And because you're a grad student, you probably have the gift of gab, but you're really not addressing the issue. I want to know what it is that is ultimate, absolute, unconditionally non dependent, non derivative, that stands in causal relations to every instance of what is, can be, and cannot be. What is it?
It's going to be a variety of different things.
No,
One,
what is it? No, it has to be one thing. Otherwise,
why
it's not
why does it have to be
ultimate.
one thing? Why does
Because
it have to be
then,
one
what?
thing?
Because if it's not one thing, you have two or more things that are co-extent, each of which exist without derivation from the other, and therefore neither
Uh,
one of them by themselves are ultimate. So it has
right.
to be singular. What
But
is it singularly that is ultimate?
wait, that's not I mean, that's just saying it's not
If you
ultimate,
don't answer,
so
if
it's
you
not
dodge a
ultimate.
question one more time, you're done.
Okay, sure. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay?
What's
Because
yeah?
this is
Okay.
what you do. And I
Okay.
understand that you're a philosophy grad student and
Okay.
you have the gift of gab. But because you have the gift of gab, it doesn't mean that I was born yesterday and I'm fooled by your monologuing. Okay? I'm asking you what is singularly ultimate. that dictates any instance of what is, can be, and cannot be. What is it?
I'll say platonic forms, I think, is the
Okay,
best
good.
answer.
Goodbye. We've already gone
Okay.
over that. Hit the road. Okay. There we go, folks. This is what they do. Does Darth Dawkins say, this is what they do? They get debunked and refuted like a dog that goes back to its vomit and says, wow, a hot lunch. This is what they do. By definition, God is not subject to or derivative from anything other than himself.
Then he would be the only thing at the beginning of time, yes?
No, sir. God would just simply exist.
Yes,
Okay?
but would anything
Now,
else exist?
you're still not getting it. Okay? Your answer was an appeal to changing the definition of God.
What was before creation?
I like to answer it by saying, logically, prior to creation, there was simply God.
Okay.
Now, I'm still waiting for a direct answer because the answer that you gave is not germane to the question. Maybe you're not realizing it, okay?
Well,
because you're saying is
I'm left with one of Dawkins.
hold on a second. You said everything that exists has to derive from something else.
Yes, likely.
That's incoherent.
Why?
Because if everything is of a second order state, there can't be anything that's primary. And if nothing's primary, there can't be second order states.
Why can't there be temporary primaries?
You're not understanding, okay?
Well, no, I am understanding.
Either something is primary or it's not. The issue of whether it persists or it desists in existing is not the issue. Either something is metaphysically primary, both chronologically and contemporarily, or not. Your position is everything is of a second order. But if everything is of a second order, then nothing's primary. But if nothing's primary, you can't have second order states. Second order states presuppose that something is primary.
I can explain what I mean.
No, please don't, because it's not coherent.
Come on. Are you sure? You haven't heard it?
No, I just explained to you.
You haven't
See,
heard it, though.
you
But you
know
left
what?
something out.
You're like these atheist fools. Do you understand
But you left something out.
that if nothing is primary, okay,
I'm
there
not saying
can't
that.
be. Okay, then if something is primary,
Yes.
then it can't be secondary. You're not getting this. This is not rocket surgery.
Yet.
Your position is everything is of a second order.
If I have two primary things and put them together, have I
Okay,
made something new?
you know what? I will explain it to you one more time, and then I'm going to stop because you're not getting this. This is not mental gymnastics on my part. You're simply not getting it. If everything is of a second order, then everything that is of a second order, none of these things are primary. Therefore, if something's primary, then it's something that's not of a second order. But your position is everything is of a second order.
Well, no.
Okay, listen, sir, you're
You didn't
truly
let me
not
tell, you
getting
didn't
it.
let me
Okay,
tell him my
thank you.
position.
Have a nice day. You're done.
You didn't let
Okay, yeah, okay. I cannot take people who are purposely stuck on stupid. Okay, he can't possibly be that stupid. So what he's doing is trolling light. Okay, while pretending not to troll.
He's
1 minute
he's trying to stalemate. He's running around the boxing ring.
he's just want. He's
Tap
trolling,
dancing.
but it's what we call trolling light. He said that everything's of a second order, but then he says, well, there is something that is primary. But then if it's primary, then by definition it can't be of second order.
He's soft trolling.
Yeah, it's soft trolling because just listening to him, he can't possibly be this retarded. Okay? He can't possibly be this stupid. You see, this is what some of these people do. They're like these flat earthers. They will argue with you till you're blue in the face. They just like to be a contrarian. They like just yanking your chain. I don't have time for this. What does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they
Accept
do.
the God worldview or you don't. I mean,
Look,
that is
listen, agnosticism is widely popular throughout the world. It's popular among many philosophers. But the fact that it's widely popular doesn't mean that it holds up upon careful and a specific perspective scrutiny.
It holds up
The,
upon the most simple logic.
no, I will explain to you why it doesn't. Okay? Now, you told me you accept the law of excluded
But
middle. Is that
let's
correct?
ignore that and your fancy philosophy speak.
No, sir. You know what? Let's ignore the fact that I'm about to kick you out of the room for being evasive. Okay? We don't play it that way. Okay?
I'm not going to be
Now,
threatened. If you want to
did
have a
you not?
conversation, enough.
Did you? Yeah, I want to have a conversation, but I don't
Let's
like
have.
it when you're rude. When you cut me off from finishing what I'm saying to purposely dodge what I'm putting forth.
Trying to
Okay.
explain to you, I don't
Now,
understand that
did
concept.
you tell
Sorry that
me?
angers you.
Listen, dude. I'm a no nonsense person. I go from 0 to 60 when somebody becomes obnoxious with me, and you're beginning to do that. Okay. Now, did you tell me you accept the law of excluded middle?
No, I don't know what it is.
I already explained it to you. I went in detail explaining to you what the law of excluded middle is. Did you forget?
I don't understand it.
Okay, you see now. Okay, goodbye. You're gone. See now you're lying. Okay, when people start lying to me, you're done. Goodbye. Okay. See what we got is another lying scumbag. Okay, you start lying to me, you're gone. You're done. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do.
Yeah, well, so for one thing, and again, the analogy that I made in the chat just now is, imagine you have a book, and you decide that you're going to insert an extra page between page 3 and page 4, right? And now you're going to compare that new book to the original book, and you're going to ask how similar are the two books together. Now, if you just do a straight comparison, everything after page 3 is now different because you're going to be comparing page 4 in the original book to page 5 in the new book, and they're not going to match. But if you shift your comparison to the actual page, you'll find that the book is only different by a single page. So that's how you would compare DNA
But the
sequences,
general
because
but that's not presented to the public.
well, I don't know what you mean by it's not presented to the public.
In the popular representation. By the way, do you believe in evolution?
Well, it's not a matter of belief. I mean, I studied evolution, and I understand how it works. And
That's a straightforward question, and what you just responded was a dodge.
no, it's not at all. There's no belief involved. I understand it,
Okay,
and so
good, good,
therefore
good.
I accept it.
Listen to me, sir. How old are you?
Why does it matter how old I am?
I'll ask you again. How old are you? I'm
Why
60.
why
How
does it?
old are you? Okay,
I'm
you don't
34.
have to. Okay, you're 34. Okay, are you a college graduate?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to stop dodging like a weaselly 15-year-old at the cafeteria
I
table.
did not dodge your question in
Yeah,
the
you most
slightest.
certainly
Not even a little bit.
you most
Not
certainly
even
said.
the
Okay,
slightest amount.
so you have no beliefs about biological origins. Is that correct?
It depends on what you mean by
Sir,
beliefs.
listen to me very carefully. If you're a college graduate and
Mm-hmm.
you're in your 30s, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you start lying to me, I'm going to kick you off the stage because that's what I'm well known for. I don't put up with
You
people lying to
seem
me.
very. So I
Now,
don't know anything about you. I've
good,
never been in any of the
yeah,
rooms with you.
hmm
I actually am not on Clubhouse very often. You seem very defensive and
I'm not
very.
defensive. I'm
You seem.
irritated in your
You do
deceptiveness,
seem
sir.
irritated. I
I
accept
am
that you're very
irritated. Yeah,
irritated.
I plead guilty. When people
Mm-hmm.
start being deceptive with me, when I ask a straightforward
I
question,
am
then
not
I get
being
it.
deceptive with you.
Over talk me again, I'm going to kick you off the stage.
You
All
again
right.
seem
Okay?
very deceptive. I mean, you
No,
seem
no.
very
Okay,
defensive.
sir. No, I'm not defensive.
So defensive.
I'm being assertive and I'm being indignant with what I consider your bad and bad faith conduct. Okay? Now, I asked you a question. Now, do you have any beliefs whatsoever about biological origins?
Again, when you say beliefs, do you mean evidence? Do you mean evidence-based beliefs, or do you mean? Oh, okay,
You're done. You're
good talk.
done, you smarmy little scumbag. Okay, you're gone.
Good talk.
Okay. See, here's another example of somebody who has a high education, college education. They've studied biology, studied evolution, and he outright lies where he says he doesn't. When I said, "Do you believe in evolution?" Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it
the
didn't
answer is
have.
that was an outright verbal maneuver to try to deceive me. Of course, yeah. Say, yeah, I believe that what he should just simply say is, yeah, I believe that the neo-Darwinian synthesis is probably right.
Yeah, and I was hoping.
But he was denying that he had beliefs. Well, I've studied it and I accept it. Yeah, well, you have a positive attitude toward propositions, which can be encapsulated as the neo-Darwinian synthesis. So you believe it.
Yeah, I was hoping.
He was being listen. I didn't want to kick him out of
I
here.
know.
You start lying to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
As simple as a question is, do you believe in evolution? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because it was obvious that he did. So why not say, yeah, I believe in evolution.
Yeah, because I was really
Yeah.
hoping you and him go back and forth about evolution,
Oh,
but he
I
just.
would have loved to have
Yeah,
done that.
I so.
Okay, but you see, you know what? I'm known for this, and I'm not embarrassed to do it. You start behaving deceptively with me, and you develop a pattern of it, even within a short frame of time, then what's the point of me going on and talking with you if you're going to lie to me?
Yeah, I was trying to help him so we could talk about and.
What does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do. Whoever does Clubhouse debates, but they're probably in here under a different user account. But Clubhouse debates, which
are they streaming it to YouTube?
They're streaming it to YouTube, and the person who does these Clubhouse debates requested that somebody come in and troll you.